Okie dokie. Small break, and we're back. Alright, let's go ahead and do the color. I was hoping that I could get it done with that last session, but as always, in true Drew fashion, I got distracted. So now, as I continue to put in value, so now let's go ahead and get this color done, if my laptop will allow. Oh boy. Alright. Okie day. So for this, I mean, you could have colored this from the very get-go and started with your values. Similar to how you would in a painting, you would start with your darkest darks and move up in the values to create your form. However, in a digital technique, you can put in your values first and then do what's called an overlay, which is what I'm going to be doing to demonstrate. It's almost like, I don't know if you've heard of grisaille paintings. I think that's the word. I'm hoping that's the word. But very similar. You put in a value painting and you go over it with color in a very non-opaque, in multiple non-opaque layers. So very light, almost watercolor-esque layers. And this is in oil painting, so you don't typically see that in oil painting. You typically see people just putting in the colors and going from there. Oh, well, before I do that, let's do one more thing. And that is putting back his horn, because he wouldn't be a rhino without a proper horn. Oh dear. You know what? I'm going to look up rhino. Okay. I like the stubby horns. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to give him a nice stubby horn. Following the form of his helmet. And again, just putting in the dark and then going ahead and putting in some of the medium values. Oh, wow. Slow down there, buckaroo. There it is. Actually, I will lighten that up just a touch. Okay, and gonna put in the highlight at the very tippy top. I don't know if any of you watching had ever watched or were a fan of the show Beast Wars, but me, an absolute nerd, loved that show and watched it religiously. And this guy kind of reminds me of a pacified Rhinox. And that brings me joy. Knowing that he has a cousin in the ranks that You know, doesn't necessarily saw people in half or shoots anybody, but lovingly bludgeons them. So, Rhino should be proud of his cousin. Okay. Alright, color time. Let's do it. So I'm adding a new layer, and I will name this color. And we can change the property of this layer type. Not that way. I don't know if you can see the drop or the option menu here. Oh, right here. That's right. So we have a couple options. We have overlay, or we have color, which is at the very bottom here. I like to do overlay. It kind of has a more subtle approach to introducing color. What it does is that it stays true to the value, and so it's not necessarily adding a layer of color, but it is introducing color to the values in themselves, and I'll show you kind of what I mean by that. So I already have a palette here for some things, and going to use that. Oh wow, okay. Did the same thing. I was on my eraser. So as you can see, typically on a normal layer, you would cover up those values. In this case, the colors did retain their value. So the lights stayed light, and the midtone stayed in their midtone, and the shadows stayed dark. And that's what I really like about overlay. And what you can do is go over your painting, and then what I like to do actually is do an opaque layer, so just another normal layer over top, and kind of complement what's already been laid down, whether it be pulling some of the color values in themselves a bit more, or detensify or desaturate what is too strong. But typically that's not the case. What I do is just kind of clean it up a bit. And that certainly helps. So what's going to be tricky about the metal here, we don't have any reference to color outside of his body. And metal is incredibly reflective and will basically absorb all of the colors around it. And since I don't have that, I'll have to kind of make it up. And hopefully it looks good. Cool. Alright, metal. We are going to cool it off a bit, so we're going to give it just a tad bit of a blue. Now this is one I haven't seen other artists, professional artists I should say, use this particular technique. They will do a similar thing where they will overlay, but they'll do it in much controlled fashion. They will do the whole picture first, so turning it into a monochromatic painting, and then they will go ahead and kind of pick and choose their colors and how it works. And I think that's a process that I need to learn, just because it seems like it's a lot more in that process of going from big to small. It's not working out the small details first and then realizing that things are off. It's very much starting from broad and zooming in onto the smaller detailed bits, which is how you should approach paintings, in my opinion. Oops. So we already have a brown tone for his skin. So what I'm going to do is I might warm that up a bit and give it a very, very leathery here. Cool. Hopefully I'm explaining some of this, some of these processes to you in a proper manner and using terminology that is appropriate. I'm not perfect. I tend to make mistakes, so forgive me if anything that I am talking about is incorrect or ooh, am I erasing? Or is it just my values are really, really light and so it's starting to kind of erase? I think that's the case. Ooh, or maybe not. I think maybe I erased. But again, let's find out. So with these highlights, I am putting in a warmish color. For these shadows, though, I do want to cool those off a bit. Maybe too much. Too cool. For school. That was stupid. Just a touch. Right in there. Cool. And same goes for stuff over here that's just sitting in shadow. Okay. It's coming along. I'm gonna keep this area cooler. I know, well, it is gonna be reflecting some of that warmer light, so just a tad. Then I am gonna actually cool this off over yonder. On the ambient end of things. And actually might do that to some of the skin, or some of his skin tone here too, just to help deepen the presence of that light, especially on the raised parts of his skin that are in that direction. Nope, 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 nope. Come on. Oh no, what have I done? That's what I need. There we go. I don't know what tone I use for that. That's unfortunate. I might have to go back in with a different layer here. Kind of help clean that up. That'll do. And especially on his ears up here, I do want to get that light. Cool. Go back to this lighter, warmer color for the front of his ears. So those are definitely in direct light, along with his horns. Ooh, okay, now it's catching up. Not that much. It's really having a hard time here with my laptop just struggling to keep up, and I don't know what I'm going to be able to do about that in the future, besides clearing up some space here. Okay. Looking pretty solid. It's not gonna be a masterpiece, but it will get my point across. Maybe in the future, when I finish my color classes, we can come back and kind of correct anything that isn't right. That would be fun to kind of rework stuff that was previously thought to be, I guess you could say, correct. Might be too harsh of a word, but you know, it might have to do for now, because it's looking a little bit wonky. I'm not gonna lie. I'm not entirely sure what I need to do in order to help kind of balance out the whoa, where did those come from? Help balance out the values, because there are some pretty interesting spots here, and again, the interaction with color and light, they certainly help intensify those values, or maybe I just don't have the eye for it yet, but yeah, so this is kind of the base color that you kind of go for. I don't think I have anything on this layer. I am going to keep this as a normal layer, so I can just go back in and kind of pick and choose what I need with the palette that I've already laid down on this piece here. So we already had kind of a blue tone here that I'm going to have follow through kind of the darker bits. Oops, maybe I shouldn't be using that. I need more of a yellow, I feel like. Harshen up the brush here, get some. There, that looks nice. And warming up the bits that are in direct sunlight, because again, those areas are in theory absorbing that that warmer light. Ooh. Cool. Alrighty. I'm actually gonna look up some armor so I can see what it kind of picks up. has kind of like a neutral, it looks like, in the midtones, which I will try to replicate here. Hopefully not compromising the value, because again, I am on just a straight normal layer here. Okay. I mean, it's passing for shiny metal. But I will go back on these little raised bits to kind of help give those forms a bit more clarity. Kind of intensify that just a little bit. Would be reflecting on the those edges there too. Just a tad. Maybe not so much on this one here. So I might neutralize it here. Just a neutral tone. And again, this is just my particular method of going about these kinds of paintings. Again, not necessarily the most effective or most efficient, but again, learning process. I'm sure I'll pick up some new things along the way. Just here for the ride for now. Just wanted to neutralize that just a bit more. I might actually go in and put some more darker darks. It's very sloppy in there, but we're not going to pay attention too much to it. If my zoom would help. It is working against me right now. Alrighty. And for this bit over here, just lightly put in this cooler value. And do the same over here. So I might switch to a harder round brush to help intensify those creases. Okay. Yeah, I think the metal's working out pretty good. Oh, excuse me, I sneezed. I might edit that out, but we'll find out. Get those knuckles in. cooler tone on the opposite ends. In fact, I might actually introduce some reflective light over here, just a little bit. Oops. There you go. Might have to cut it off here just because my poor laptop is just having a time. But I mean, it is certainly coming along here, and I will certainly give this to Micah when it's done. And then, yep, adding some lighter areas there. Cool. You know, he doesn't look half bad. I'd say that was a relative success. Not the prettiest or most sophisticated work, but I think it'll do. Cool. Well, there you have it, folks. Kind of how I approach painting in kind of the techniques that I've been taught in my schooling career, and hopefully it was entertaining enough. But in the next video, hopefully we'll do something a little bit different. But I appreciate you sticking around, and I hope to see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.